think the problem is that when I see comments on the internet, my least favorite thing to see is not the hateful stuff. Obviously, it's bad. It's not the the purposefully offensive stuff, or the what I mean by that is the troll stuff. Like, I don't actually end up seeing that much like offensive material on the internet these days. I guess I'm lucky for that reason. But the stuff that really gets to me is when people try to like qualify why they've done something, and they do so in a kind of like a very disingenuous way that really didn't need qualifying. Like, you're making stuff and it's on the internet, and that's enough. And obviously I'm saying this as someone who's making some stuff to put on the internet, and I guess hoping that it is enough. But the comment that or even worse, like the post that I'm most focused on here is when people say, oh, I just did this because I was bored. It absolutely blows my tiny mind that anyone should finish off a post by saying something like that. Like, if I'm scrolling Reddit and I see a long post title that ends with the phrase, or even whatever, somewhere in it, it says, and I did this because I was bored. My first reaction is, no, you didn't. No, you didn't, bro. There's just no way that this content that I'm currently witnessing came about out of boredom, because boredom does not create creativity. There, I said it. I'm going on the record. I'm saying it. Matter of fact, here we go. Boredom does not create creativity. Because, most of the time what I'm seeing is not like a shit post. That's, maybe I should qualify what I'm saying when I'm talking about qualifying content. If you're making a shit post and it took about 5 seconds, low effort is the parlance, then you're welcome to say that you were bored when you were making it. Or sorry, it was boredom that created it. But if in fact, what I see is like, I don't know, someone's done some like speed run on a certain game, or someone's collected all of a certain type of character in that same game, or someone's made an edit of a character in a bunch of movies, like an MCU movie, and they've spliced together every time Hulk speaks or something like this, and then they qualify it with that, and I was bored, so, and no, you didn't. There was no way that you were. What I imagine is this person, this 13-year-old boy that I'm getting upset about on Reddit, I imagine them sat on the end of their bed, like swinging their heels, being like, oh, it's raining, none of my friends have reached out. For some reason, I am not playing my 600th game of Fortnite today. So instead, out of the sheer boredom of this moment, I'll crack open Premiere Pro I'll somehow obtain a copy of all 25 Marvel movies. Whether I have a Disney Plus subscription, somehow I get the video files. I watch all 25 movies, identifying timestamps of when the Hulk speaks. And then I smash those into Premiere, cut them down, and finally I've got a supercut of what I wanted. But just to be clear, the reason that this exists, the reason that I'm doing this, is I was bored. It's bollocks, right? It's obviously bollocks. There's no way that you did this because you just had free time and there was nothing else to do in that free time than do this. All of those things take a huge amount of effort, a huge amount of thought. Maybe there's not a lot of active brain work whilst you're doing the splicing and doing the chomping together. All good. But I just don't like, and I guess that's my question. Who do you think you are fooling when you say, oh, I was just bored and... I mean, even just to the point of you posted this on Reddit, bro. So like you having finally spliced all your Hulk clips together. You chose a codec. You finally exported to a video. You made sure the audio was fresh. You got that file. You opened up Reddit. You uploaded that file. There's so much work there. And if you're trying to make me believe that boredom leads to that much work for you, that you can just create hundreds of hours of work for yourself and crack a video out at the end of it and then upload it to Reddit or whatever social media, I simply don't believe that what happened here was boredom. And so, yeah, ultimately, as I said, the question is, who do you think you're fooling? Is it yourself? Why do people feel the need? Why do, again, teenagers on Reddit that I'm obviously very upset about, why do they feel the need to say that? Why can't they, like, it's really odd to say that I both am sharing this with you, this thing that I created and produced and put hours against. I'm sharing this with you. I want you to see it. I want Reddit points for it, because that's what you're saying when you share something on Reddit. No one puts something on Reddit just to post and then walks away, deletes their account, right? You put it out there because you want it off your file system and you want it on somebody else's feed. So that's the movement that you made, is to get it out, share it with the world, see it, fed to the masses, and see what the masses have to say about it. But you also qualified it by saying, didn't care when I did this. Oh, just tripped on my keyboard, tripped over my mouse cable, and the random jerky movements of me falling to the ground produce this. Oh, so crazy. Okay, sure, maybe I can understand you wanted to be like underplaying the work that went into it, but the overuse of the word bored is what gets to me. I'm just like, why? Why? There's no way that you were bored, right? You, even just to choose a topic, even just to choose a single thing that you're going to talk about or dissect or present work on, you've showed interest. and therefore you're not bored because interest is the opposite of boredom. If you are interested in anything and are acting on that interest, then whatever you're doing is not out of boredom. And again, like, I just find it astonishing, staying on the on the Marvel example, right? If you're bored and you have all of those movies, you just watch them. And that's something you do out of boredom. It's a passive act. You sit back on the couch, whatever, laptop screen on, whatever. You lie as I'm lying now and take in the world and exist and don't output. But by creating output, you have expressed energy. And I guess I just find it really peculiar. I find that there's obviously a lot of social content being created all the time. And I think that there's a weird, obviously, Venn diagram when it comes to the newer, shorter content like reels and stories and that kind of stuff. Where, sure, maybe the person on screen seems bored, but that's more in the realm of bored, disinterested, cool, sort of unaffected. Oh, you caught me. This is candid. And that makes sense. It's almost on brand because you've got that candidness and that coolness obviously leads into the content being more hot, right? Being more desirable because cool is desirable, right? So that all makes sense. Or you've got actual, like I say, straight up shit posting, or it's a dumb meme, or I was about to say deep fried, but even if you're deep frying something, just the notion, like, you have to own, cracked or otherwise, paid for or not, you have to own a copy of an image editing software. You can't do this shit in Paint. So, I mean, maybe you can. I haven't used Paint for a long time. I'm a Mac guy. So you've had to go through these steps. You have to stop whatever else you're doing. And like I say, maybe that is you swinging your heels off the end of your bed. Maybe that is you playing Fortnite. Maybe that is you playing some kind of physical activity outside. You've had to stop that, take a break in that, sit down on your computer and form thoughts into actions. And those actions have resulted in content. So I just am, and that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody knows that. Other people are enjoying your content, and what people who are enjoying your content that you created, they're the bored ones. Because all they have to do is swippy swip with the thumb, right? Just scroll on through. That's what they're doing. And maybe if they are, inspired to out of their passivity, maybe they smash the old up dude. Maybe they do it down. Maybe they double tap if you're on Instagram. It's all good. Maybe, holy shit, the holy grail, maybe they smash that share button. But they're the people who are bored. They're the people who you are, shaking out of their stupor into action. So it's utterly peculiar to come in hot and in the title say I am bored. I guess what it reminds me of is, I remember, I guess it happens all the time, but even now, especially now, I'll get back to that in a minute, but what I most remember is at school, specifically university. At school, I was surrounded by other English people who were from my ends, so we're all in the same boat. Whereas I went to university, and obviously it's a much more of a melting pot of, a shit ton of people from around the country, but also from elsewhere, right? International, exchange students, all that kind of stuff. And people whose English wasn't their first language would always say something amazing, and I was going to say affluent, but what I meant was eloquent. People would say something, they would speak eloquently, they would express themselves, they would describe the situation, or, I did a very presentational course, so they would be presenting their work and they would present their ideas. And they would do that super successfully, and they would share with the class in English, what was going on and what was happening. And then they'd say at some point, "Oh yeah, sorry for my bad English." And I understand well, I understand more and more the compulsion to do that. However, we all just followed you. Let me clarify. If you do a presentation like that, if English is not your first language, and we get to the end of the presentation, we're like, damn, dope, round of applause, or we have a question that clearly shows that we've understood what you were talking about, then your job's over. You have succeeded in English. You are, not if not fluent, then you are absolutely technically capable of speaking English, because all language is just the purpose of it is just to be understood. You can fuck up along the way, and people have a myriad of different ways of fucking up, right? And I'm more inclined to get stressed at an English speaking person who messes up. If they have if someone whose second language was English would present, and then they'd be followed by someone whose first language was English, and that presentation would be worse, bro, that makes me mad. But when that person whose second language is English gets to the end of the press and goes like, "I'm really sorry for how that went, because, English isn't my first language. So, I'm sorry about the way I spoke." It actually makes me mad. That shit gets me riled up. Because I'm like, how? How can you have killed it that hard? How can you have put in that much effort? How can you have achieved so good and then still be in this place where you're like, "I'm sorry, I suck"? It makes me believe that you're actually just kind of fishing for compliments. Now, in that situation, I'm more inclined to believe that's not true, and that's just me being a cynic. All right? All good. In a Reddit sense, in a social media sense, there's no way that you can convince me that you didn't put "I'm just bored" because you wanted a little extra love, because you're fishing just a little bit. And because for all the reasons discussed, there's just no way that I can believe you. And, unless this is your first goddamn post and your first goddamn day on this first goddamn site, then you know what it takes to produce content, share, and sink or swim. So I can understand some of the compulsion that I'm talking about when it comes to qualifying the second language, right? Because now, day to day, I'm trying to work in Italian, right? I live in Italy now, and I can understand because I want to say it at the end of every sentence. I'm sorry. I wasn't born here. This isn't my language. I apologize. And I can understand their compulsion to say that. But again, like, if I leave my house wanting something and I go into your store and I communicate with you and then I leave with that thing that I wanted, job done. That's communication, baby. Like, screw the nuances. I'm working on it. I'm working on, the real grammar of Italian. I'm working hard. I'm doing my duo. It's all good. And I'm getting practice and I'm getting better. It's great. However, if I leave and I've got what I need and you aren't totally offended, amazing. That's as good as it gets for me. And I don't know why people don't feel that way, especially when they're speaking English. English is a really, even, again, like people I meet here who try to speak in English, they apologize for their English. I'm like, hang on. You've just 100% accommodated me. You've spoken in my language, my first language, even though it's your second. We've understood one another. Okay, you slightly messed up some grammar along the way, but we completely understood one another, and you put in all that effort to speak in your non-mother tongue. Incredible. You're an incredible human being, and you are a better person because you are trying to bridge the gap of language that is one of the foundational divides of people. Language forms culture, forms society, forms ways of thinking. And if you can speak more than one language, or if you can have a crack at that, you're amazing. You're a saint. You're a bridge builder. And so I find it, because I can't handle my own emotions, I get angry when people apologize, as I say, for building that bridge and it having a little bit of a rough surface. Thank you for the extended metaphor. They apologize. That's wild and crazy to me. It really is. And ultimately, it can result in some excellent miscommunications. I think the favorite one that my friend told me was she's working in French. She is French. She teaches English, and so there's a lot of weird ways to pronounce things there. And so, she has some amazing examples. But yeah, headache, I think, and there was heartbreak and headache getting confused was one of the examples that she gave me, and I just absolutely love that. Like, it's such a tiny little mistake, but it just, to me, there's a comedy in that, and I really enjoy that there's a nuance in that. But my favorite one that I've heard recently was someone was trying to describe an Italian speaker. Italian is their second language, but far better than my Italian. And English is their third language. And they were trying to describe why they'd had such a good summer of 2021. And they said, oh yeah, I was out there just, enjoying myself, living my best life, really just being a hot summer girl. Of course she meant hot girl summer. Of course she did. And that's absolutely fucking amazing. That's so, so good, because you've got the words, you know the concept, and we found some comedy in the confusion between the two. Magic. Absolute goddamn magic. And I love that. And then, I also had another almost inverse realization the other day. I do obviously, like I say, I struggle with my Italian. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to teach myself. I'm trying to communicate more and more. It's all good. And when I get discouraged is when I see, I'm sure when anyone gets discouraged, I see confusion, right, in the other person's face. It's hard to mask. The brow furrows, and the lips start to move ever so slightly, imitating your own. And that's when you know you fucking lost them. And if someone is concentrating on the words that you're saying, ironically, they lose a grasp on the concept that you're trying to get across. So that's when you know you've really lost them. So I obviously, because my Italian is bad and I'm wandering around the same places, I see this a lot. I get a lot of brows in my life. It's all good. And I thought that was about me. I thought that was on me. I thought that was my lack of practice, right? And then I went into a place that I usually get my pastries and stuff. And I saw there was a guy in front of me. He just, had ahead of the line. And he went for it. And he ordered whatever. And as he ordered his stuff, the person behind the counter gave him the same furrowed brow she gives me every time. And I could hear that he was an Italian person. He was an older Italian gentleman speaking fluently to another fluent speaker, probably ordering from the same place he orders every day because that's the vibe. And she gave him this face of confusion. And I've never felt so good in my goddamn life about my crappy Italian. Because I really just thought it was me this whole time. I really just thought I was getting that as the idiot Englishman, right? Who's really bungling the language. And I know that I do. That's not to be debated. But I thought that I was attracting that kind of rage because of this, right? No. What I recognize is all Italian servers are mad. All of them are confused. All of them would like you to stop talking now, please. And that made me feel amazing. I couldn't have felt better about the fact that I had just witnessed that. So, now I think I'm going to give up on language learning. I can't do that. No, it's a lie. It's a lie. I can't do that. I can't possibly do that. Because I'm now at this point. You may be more academic than this. If you're learning a language, I hope you are more academic than this. But when I moved here, I decided, okay, I'm going to do two things. One, make Italian friends somehow. And that I'll just learn by immersion. All good. Two, I'll keep up my Duolingo for the building block basics. Let me tell you, I've done one of those. Every Italian I meet here, every new friend I make, they all speak at least half English. And they go through the furrowed brow phase and then they go, yeah, you know what? And they just speak in English. So all the conversations I have with Italians that I actually know here end up speaking English anyway. So great. Not helping whatsoever. Never be fluent. Always good. I'm doing my duo. And I'm so hot on my streak, bro. If I use a single streak freeze, I feel that as real pain down in my chest and my heart. I'm up at 400 days. I've gone a year plus doing Italian every single day. And just when I think I'm not going to do it, they hit me with the notification. They hit me with the loading screen that's like, hey, think about it. If you spent 15 minutes on social media, you'd gain nothing. If you spent 15 minutes on Duolingo, bro, And that keeps me awake at that doesn't keep me awake at night. When I'm being kept awake at night by scrolling Instagram, I think if the owl could see me now, he'd be so mad that I'm not putting in another practice. The truth of the matter is the game is extremely loud. There's a lot of dings going on. There's no way I'm playing that whilst I'm trying to get into bed. It's all good. However, I think about it a lot when I'm having my doom scroll at the end of the day. And I think about it a lot even though I play a minimum of 3 test exams, practices, whatever, per day. Because I've got a system now. You do that stuff before noon, you unlock double XP at the end of the day, bro. 2 more tests by the end of the day, maybe even a third. Oh my days. You're never leaving the Diamond League. And now, I'm in it. I'm in it for life. If I ever lose this streak, what am I going to do? I'll have to leave Italy. It'll be over. I'm so invested. I'm so in the game. But equally, I'll never pay a penny for this goddamn app. The owl gives me trouble every single day. He feeds me this good information like, oh, here's what you could be learning about Italian. I'm like, amazing. Then he's like, if you give me some cash, you could be learning it harder. I'm like, absolutely not, no deal. If I've got to 400 days and every single penny has remained mine, you're done, bro. There's no way you're going to get money out of me now. I've surpassed a year. I've done a whole year. Some people are abstinent for that amount of time. Some people are sober, right? Me, I do dumb little Italian games to learn dumb little Italian grammar. And I've done it for a year. And I've done it for free. So there's no way you're getting my cash at this point. And that is why I'm a hot summer girl. And that's why I'll never do anything just because I'm bored. Because if I'm bored, then I'll do my duo. And I'll do it for free. I'll get my XP and I'll get to the top of the Diamond League. And that's where I'm going to stay. I've accepted the furrowed brows. I've accepted the owl into my life. And this is where I'm going to stay forever. And that's what I think the problem is.